Chapter 10. Fuku Escape. On this day, the Kamedake had been practicing fighting using the subsystem Amain developed. As they changed from the conditions of being on planet to outer space, Amain moved the Kamedake and did a trick maneuver. Fuku had gotten used to this and didn't interfere. In the past few days, Fuku had become accustomed to the situation. She thought of it as a fun game, but as expected she got tired after a while. The Kamedake was soon unable to navigate well. Kariko, it seems that we've reached our limit. Well, I'm done collecting data at the moment. Okay, reset the simulation program. Move the Kamedake to a fixed position. Captain, please remove Fuku's gear. Thank you for your patience. Seina approached Fuku and took off the equipment. Mia, Fuku was hugged by Seina and patted on her head, and she was happy. Let's go home. Seina put Fuku on his head and headed to the transfer gate. Good job today. After sending off Seina, Amain went to get everyone food as usual as Kariko and Irma began processing the data. I forgot. Suddenly Kariko stood up when the meal ended. I was washing Fuku's towel. I have to give it to her. Kariko quickly jumped into the transfer gate and headed to Seina's house at full speed. She opened the door and took out Fuku's towel from the case containing things already washed and headed to the bedroom. Sorry, Fuku-chan. As expected, Fuku was crying and was stuck to Seina's heels. Mia. Fuku, who noticed the towel Kariko had, rushed towards Kariko. Ms. Kariko, that towel. I am sorry. It was just so dirty. I couldn't bear it. It had bite marks. I didn't want her putting it in her mouth like that, so I washed it. Seina tried to take the towel from Kariko. Suddenly, a loud alert from NB sounded in the room. Kariko hid behind the scenes with Fuku. Mr. Master. They were so mean to me. This is awful. Hey, calm down. No, I need revenge. Where did that monster go? I saw her run off. Listening to NB, Seina understood why Kariko hid with Fuku. I understand. I will listen to your story. Just calm down. Seina headed for the living room with a communications monitor. Mia. Fuku-chan. Kariko kept Fuku from following Seina. After a while she took Fuku and headed to the living room and confirmed that Seina was behind a privacy wall. Then Fuku gave up and became quiet. Irma, are you there? Kariko opened communications to the bridge. Oh, Kariko-san. Apparently, NB has broken out of the time freeze. Seina is going to be busy. Should we postpone things? Yes, that's fine. I feel sorry for Seina. Kariko headed to the bedroom as soon as she got off the line. She put Fuku on the bed with her favorite towel. Come on, go to bed. Mia? However, Fuku sniffed the smell of the towel and noticed there was no smell of Seina. Mia. All right, I'll stay until Seina comes. While saying that, Kariko stroked Fuku. Fuku was a bit restless, but gently lay down on the bed. It's going to take a while. Mia? Fuku looked curiously at Kariko's face. Once this data collection is over, Fuku-chan, you won't even need to board the ship. You don't have to be scared anymore. Mia. Fuku looked up at Kariko as if surprised, with tears in her eyes. What's wrong? Have you remembered something scary? Kariko hurriedly wiped Fuku's tears with a towel and gently petted her. I'm sorry. It's okay. Don't be scared. Meow. But Fuku wouldn't stop crying. Kariko kept stroking her slowly to calm her down. Then Fuku grabbed the little finger of Kariko and began to suck it as if she was drinking breast milk. Oh! I forgot to feed you. About an hour later, Seina was finally released from NBRE's complaining and he headed tiredly to the bedroom. Seina noticed the quietness of the bedroom and looked on the inside so as not to make a noise. There was Kariko staring gently at the sleeping Fuku. Aunt Tsukiko? For a moment, she resembled Tsukiko. It was just how Tsukiko looked at a young Kai while he was sleeping. I always envied her looking at Kai like that. Seina's mother was never that close to him due to his bad luck. But when he slept, his bad luck's influence lessened. For his mother, it was the time she was finally allowed to rest, so his mother was always desperate to put Seina to bed. Kariko noticed Seina and left Fuku stealthily. Sorry I left you with NB. It's okay, that was a good call. I'm just kind of tired now. Huh. Sorry about that. When I saw you with Fuku, it reminded me of Aunt Tsukiko and Kai. Okay. Kariko didn't know if that was a compliment, and to her Tsukiko was now a rival. Oh, Captain, are you okay? Irma asked when he came onto the bridge. The complaints never ended, it just went on and on for hours. Sorry about that, but thanks to you playing decoy, we had enough time to finish everything. We can start at any time. Our data collection finished sooner than expected. Alright, we can test it on the way back home. Fuku had a dream. A memory of Fuku before she was born. After moving from Washu's shoulder to the egg nucleus, a voice was heard. Meow, Mia, What's wrong, Ryoki? Meow, oh, this kid? She's your, well, sister. Mia. Mayan, a gentle voice and a joyful voice. And the feel of the warm hand transmitted through the eggshell. Huh. Aren't you excited to see what kind of child she will grow up to be? I'm looking forward to it. Finally, Fuku's dream ended and a new one began. Gentle but quiet and lonely darkness. Suddenly light and voice, and the first thing she could recognize was the face of Seina. This guy. This person. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Happy. Mia. Fuku woke up trying to jump to Seina. Mia. 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 There was no appearance of Seina anywhere she looked. There was nobody there other than Fuku in a dimly lit room. Fuku suddenly became scared and looked for her towel, but it didn't smell of Seina anymore. There was a smell of Kariko slightly attached to it, but that was it. Mia. Me. Fuku pressed her nose to the towel with all her might. The slight smell of Kariko was comforting for Fuku now and relieved some fear. Fuku loved Kariko, Amain, Irma, Hakurin, Karen, Swearin, and Jaikirin. But she disliked them when they were on the bridge at work. Well, it's more accurate to say she was scared of them. Of course, they scolded Fuku when she did bad things, but that didn't make her afraid of them. However, when they did it on the bridge, they treated her coldly as if she was a machine. And not only that, but they also treated her like an unresponsive machine. Especially in battle, she felt only Seina was there for her. Mew. Maya. Fuku was born to be Seina's ship. And she knew that it made her feel happy. That's why she felt it was a bit unnatural that she was unfit to act in that capacity in the present moment. She understood vaguely that Kariko and the others built the subsystem for that reason. But when Kariko told her she wouldn't even be needed on board, it upset her. All she could think about was Seina taking several days to come back, maybe even months. That would make her feel even worse than she did right then. Her fear of the pirates was not only a fear of her own death, but rather also the fear that she couldn't safely pilot the ship. Destruction of the hull of the ship would mean the death of Seina. For Fuku, that was her biggest fear. She didn't want to think that she would not be able to see Seina again. Fuku began to cry at the thought, Maya. Meow. Maya. And then, she remembered her dream. This kid? She's your sister. Mia. Mayan. The warmth of Ryooki's hands transmitted from the eggshell. Mia. Ryooki. If you're my sister, you can tell me how to move the ship successfully. In that case, Mia. 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 Fuku imagined Seina and Kariko praising her piloting, and her body trembled with excitement. That jubilation was soon passed down to the ship. And that was just the moment that Seina entered the transfer gate. Huh. What? Seina ended up in the public bath. Why did I end up here? Seina hurried back to the transfer gate and tried to set a destination, but there was no response. Seina dared to enter, but only ended up in another part of the public bath. He tried over and over, but there was no way out from the public bath. About 2 hours later, Seina decided it was futile at last and sat down on the bench. Well, Kariko should come by in 8 hours or so. But I'm worried about Fuku. Seina stared at the bathtub in front of him. He took off his clothes and jumped into the bathtub. Actually, Seina was confined there by Fuku, who didn't want him to stop her from heading to the earth. A few hours after Fuku had escaped, Eri, who received Kariko's reports in the chairman's office, was not angry, but rather just staring at Kariko's and Hakurin's groups. However, the silence was very heavy and came with tremendous pressure. There was a report from a patrol ship that visually recognized the Kamedake, but it didn't respond when hailed. Mikami, who was checking the monitor next to Eri, got up with a big sigh. Ryoki is famous for being difficult to detect. That's why she was able to storm Jurai. Do you think Fuku has gone on a joyride? Amain asked loudly, unable to stand the silence. You guys, is it true you built a full-blown subsystem? She was not glaring, but Kariko was intimidated by being in Eri's line of sight. Seina-chan. No, the captain's duties are still too heavy for Fuku to take on, and we cannot afford to wait for her to grow up, so I decided that a subsystem was an essential need. Kariko said as objectively as possible. The existence of the Kamedake was still a top secret. It was a ship in the middle of testing its experimental use. The conversation here was a private one, and they were as good as family. However, this blunder was bad enough that it may have resulted in Seina being assigned new assistant staffing. For that reason, Kariko decided that the formality of speaking like a subordinate would to their boss should be maintained in this conversation. We also thought Kariko's judgment was correct. The other girls affirmed. It was a manifestation of intention that responsibility was everyone's. You girls are some pieces of work, you know that. Eri seemed to be amazed. What? This whole time you were analyzing Fuku-chan and didn't even notice when she was scared or crying, or even when she was lonely. All you saw was a computer unit not doing its job. What? She's having a hard time because she is a scared child and somehow you only see her as a machine that isn't working and you're just irritated she won't do as commanded. The formality between Eri and Kariko changed to that like one between a mother and her daughters. Even if she was a machine, it is a good thing to have affection for all things. To give love to something to try to know its perspective. That girl has a will of her own. Fuku-chan and that ship is a person of its own. The more you know her, the more the ship will know you. That is the power of Ryoki. The power of Jurai's ships. Don't pamper her, but please embrace her more. Listen to her, talk to her. For Washisama, Fuku-chan is the same as a daughter. She left her with you hoping you would raise her well. I'm sorry. Kariko looked down. In retrospect, Fuku's grim eyes on the bridge were always directed only to Seina, the only one who cared about how she felt. Well, Neju as well. In private, Fuku had approached Kariko and she nurtured her, but she never asked Kariko for help on the bridge. Fuku-chan. I'm sorry, Kariko cried. Honestly, you should have realized that on your own. Eh? Kariko raised her face while wiping the tears in the corner of her eyes. Why do you think that bridge is shaped to face Fuku-chan in the center? Seina seems to have caught on unconsciously, but you should have known better. You're right. Do you know where the Kamedake is going yet? There is no point in searching for it. There is only one place that child is going to. It's mother's place. Oh! Everyone raised their voices at the same time to Mikami's words. They started running to the transfer gate all at once. The Kamedake was only invisible to other ships, not to the naked eye. While they were talking, a pair of spies who were hiding in the outer ring of the academy captured an image of the Kamedake leaving the academy. That information was instantly transmitted to other pirates. Not long afterwards, space pirates found the Kamedake and captured it. Specifically, two brothers White and Jade. Bro, we did it. Woohoo! There were many other pirates who had been after her, but they captured her first, so under pirate rule the Kamedake was all theirs. How much do you think we'll make? Enough to pay off this ship we just bought with a 300-year loan. Yeah, but how much will we have after that? We can probably organize a small fleet with a few large ships. If this ship really is the same tech as Ryoki, we can probably buy a whole country. The men of the bridge cheered. Miyagaya and Fuku. Seina, who had taken a nap, woke up to Fuku's cry. The warmth of hot water made him fall asleep. In the sky, an image of the battle was projected and Fuku's crying voice was heard. Seina didn't even dry off. He quickly put on his uniform and ran towards the transfer gate. Fortunately, after going in he came out to the residential area, and then he ran to the gate to the bridge in the central pond. Fuku. Mia-an. Fuku was crying while trying to cling to the table. She was paralyzed with fear and was worried of being shot down. Fuku did not want to let Sana die. She desperately stayed in place. Wait a minute, Fuku. Sana sat down and took over the manual controls. I studied the manual. It's a good thing I took some lessons on how to operate this thing. Seeing that Sana had taken the burden of steering off her, Fuku perked up. Mia and... As soon as he took control of the hull, Fuku rushed towards him without hesitation. She began to cry. Fuku, it's all right now, everything's going to be fine. Sana talked to Fuku to calm her down. Even though he had taken over the controls, Fuku's influence was not completely gone. Fuku's fear sometimes affected his steering greatly. Next, Sana checked the state of the hull with an external monitor. It was covered in a familiar red paint. Fuku has not yet experienced battle and had no idea how to avoid having her route intercepted. She had sailed in a straight line towards her destination. For that reason, she had also received a surprise attack by space pirates with paint bullets. Unlike when they fled with Sito's baggage, the Kamidake's route was easy to read. So, he knew help would be coming. The only thing worrying Sana was his lack of experience piloting and his bad luck. The girls went back home and began scanning their information sources for any spotting of the Kamidake. Irma was the first to find things on the pirates' network. She suddenly got a call from her adjutant. Captain, look. He showed a feed of the Kamidake being captured. I understand. Can you send me a detailed location? I am investigating now. I will report it when I find out. Please do. Karika-sama. Jurai has information. So does the information department of the academy, but Irma's intel should come faster. And the next moment Kariko said, I got it. Kamidake's location was displayed on all their monitors. Kariko searched for the location of the Kamidake while comparing it with the data. I found it. There was a super space emitter that was installed as a result of Sito's package delivery to prevent that from happening again. It identified the Kamidake's location. The girls looked at a feed of the ship. Oh no, they've been paintballed. But the Kamidake should have the ability to break free from that. Yes, but Fuku is in a panic state. That's a lot of pirates. It's going to be hard to do this with a single ship. It will take time to organize a large rescue team. Oh yeah, but you know what's close by? A Jurian secret supply base. Amain showed them what was on their monitor. How do you know that? Hakurin stood up angrily. From Mihoshi's people, she invited me to visit it with her. Amain said without hesitating. Mihoshi-sama. We can get there by a long-distance transfer gate in the president's office. In the president's office, Eri and Mikami were relaxing with some tea. Sana's crew came in all at once from the usual transfer gate and ran past Eri like a herd of runaway Shiba Inus to the long-distance transfer in the back. The beep sounded alarmingly and violently. Overweight. Kariko looked around dumbfounded. Calling any of the girls fat was a lie. Shit. Make yourselves lighter. Amain said. Everyone took off their clothes. They rushed into the long-distance transfer gate again. However, beep. That's it. Just a few more. Oh! What an angle. Superb view, superb view. When Mr. Master sees this, he will get a nosebleed for sure, yeah. Dong. NB was kicked out of the gate. They were now under the weight limit and the gate transferred then. Oh, this year's tea crop sure came out lousy. Almost at the same time, Sito was having a relaxing tea with Minaho on the Mikagami Bridge. Sito, communication from Amain. Amain, dressed in Jurian operator clothes, was displayed. Please lend me the Chobimaru. What? Everyone below Sito was taken aback. Oh my, how straightforward. The Chobimaru? What are you using it for? Are you going to start a war? The Chobimaru was a planetary battleship. Moreover, it was a third-generation royal tree ship. They could defeat most countries with it alone. Even before Neiju's case, we went through a lot of hardships for you. Well, it is true that I owe you a favor, and I understand you are in a hurry. The expression of Sito, which was a little shaky, turned into a gentle smile. Behind Amain you could see the bridge of Chobimaru. Mishisu Kuramitsu and Kariko with confused faces and Hakurin's group. Fine, but please, don't ask me for favors after the fact from now on. Thank you. Amain cut off communications. Oh boy. This will be interesting. Sito held her teacup in her hands. Actually, the Mikagami was heading to the same place as the Chobimaru. There's no pulling one over on you, Sito-sama. Get ready to court the pirates. Mashishu Kuramitsu was standing next to a main, she sighed. She was the wife of Masao Kuramitsu and the adopted daughter of Kamiki Sito Jurai. During a certain incident before, Masao had planned the assassination of Masaki Tenchi. Well, she went along with it because she was in love with Masao, who she had known since he was a child. But because Masao's grandfather, Minami, opposed their marriage for status reasons, Sito adopted Mashisu so she could get approved. Of course, it was not out of charity for Sito, but also so she could establish formal ties between Jurai and the Kuramitsu. I can't believe you guys. Mashisu glared at Amain with a keen eye. Mashisu was originally a soldier. The left side of her face had been blown away in a past battle, and the color of the material used to restore it was different. Her hairstyle and fearless appearance gave an impression like that of a leopard. I'm sure Sito understands, Amain said. They were friends via Mahoshi. It was the same for Kuriko, sorry Mashisu-san. Well, I couldn't say no either way, knowing Ryuoki's sister's in trouble, Mashisu said with a smile.